The Greens are now in a powerful position. The only obstacle to greater climate ambition is Labor. The fight begins now.
Talking tough.
Our house is on fire and it's time we acted like it.
But ultimately giving the green light.
I will be joined by our Greens MPs in the House of Representatives in voting for the climate change bill.
The Greens today confirming they'll back the government's signature climate bill, giving it the critical votes it needs to pass.
People have indicated they are prepared to vote for the legislation even after their amendments are not successful, and I welcome that.
The proposed bill will enshrine an emissions reduction target of 43% by 2030 and net zero by 2050, and will require annual reports on the nation's progress.
We have been able to secure improvements to the bill, and that it's now Dutton-proofed with a genuine flaw, which means the target cannot go backwards.
The government pushing to pass the bill through the House of Reps before the end of the week.
It's a good day for Australia. It's a good day for our economy. It's a good day for our future.
But the battle isn't over just yet.
This is round one. There is 3 years of this parliament.
The Greens vowing to continue to fight new coal and gas projects.
We're taking on the coal and gas corporations that are some of the biggest corporations in the world. And they have had politicians in their pockets for a very long time. So much so that they can make billions of dollars of profit, not even pay a cent of tax and get the gas for free.
The independents too are pushing for more.
43% reduction is a political compromise when we need political courage.
While the coalition will oppose the bill altogether.
This is an opportunity for the whole of the parliament to be on the right side of history, to put aside the conflict and the arguments.
So if this is just
round one,
how many more rounds are still to go?
Climate wars may or may not be over, but they're certainly in retreat under this government.
Greens leader Adam Bandt joins us now. Adam, the Prime Minister has been keen to stress in the aftermath he hasn't given much ground in this agreement. What did you actually get out of the negotiations?
Well, we've managed to make a weak bill better by securing some improvements. We've Dutton-proofed it so that if there's a change of government in the future, they can't go down below this weak target. We've made it clear that there's no limit on how high the government wants to go in the future. We've made it harder to use public taxpayers' money to fund new coal and gas projects. We've put a bit of rigour around the ability of the bureaucracy to tackle climate change. We've made sure that we start addressing this question of how we support coal and gas workers through the transition, including by looking at establishing a transition authority. And critically, as we now head towards the government now putting some meat on the bones of this target and saying what rules are going to apply to actually cut pollution, we're going to be having discussions with the government about ensuring that those rules, when they come, in our view, stop new coal and gas projects, because that's the only way to meet even those targets. Is it everything we want? No, I would have loved to be talking to you 2 weeks into the new parliament and say we got the government to agree to stop opening new coal and gas. But are we a step closer than we were yesterday? Yes, we are.
Adam, you have said previously that the bill was insufficient to avert catastrophic climate change. Why did you decide to support it?
Well, it is sadly a weak target. The target that's proposed by the government, the rest of the world is asking us to lift it. That target would see us below the temperature goals of the Paris Agreement, which means we wouldn't stop runaway climate crisis. Look, we were in the situation where the government said that was going to be their terrible target anyway, whether we voted for the bill or not. So we managed along the way to get a few improvements that will help in the fight against the climate crisis.
Well, you've said you're going to hold the government to account. You've mentioned they're making it harder to get funding and things like that. Do you believe you will be able to hold the government to account?
Look, ultimately, yes. I mean, I think the government's position at the moment of saying that they want to keep opening new coal and gas projects is just completely untenable. Our Pacific Island neighbours are saying, please don't do it. The rest of the world, the United Nations, the world's scientists are all saying, please don't do it. And it just makes common sense. Like, we can have discussions in this parliament about how we transition out of existing coal and gas. But I think everyone agrees you don't make a problem worse while you're trying to fix it. You don't pour petrol on the fire while you're trying to put it out. And the government has said, and we're welcome, that they want to host a global climate summit here. I mean, that may not even get past square one if they also want to keep opening coal and gas projects. So there's going to be, I mean, this is round one, really, and there's going to be quite a few more steps in this parliament where we're going to keep pushing the government to stop opening coal and gas.
The government's argument there, though, seems to be twofold. One is that not all coal and gas projects are the same. For example, you need coal in order to build metal, which is needed in order to build the stuff that makes renewable energy work, for example. So there's a difference between metallurgical coal and thermal coal. But also that if we don't build certain coal things, then other countries that do coal in a much dirtier way will. And so the overall effect on the climate would actually be worse.
Well, that's the drug dealer's defence, isn't it? Like, if I don't sell it to them, then they're going to go and get it from somewhere else for worse quality.
Yeah, but what if it's true, though, Adam? What if it is actually true?
But it's not. Like, the rest of the world there has to come a time in history where the world says we're going to stop opening new coal and gas projects and switch to renewables instead. And this is the thing. You don't need to switch from one country's coal to another country's coal. We've got the opportunity now to move straight to renewables. And here's the huge opportunity for Australia. Instead of selling the rest of the world coal that is going to destroy the Australian environment and mean more heat waves and worse floods right here at home, let's sell them our sunshine in the form of exported green power. Let's sell them our green metals and our green minerals. So there are other things we can do to bring money back home, and we don't have to, continue with those tired lines. If there's one thing that shouldn't be recycled, it's Scott Morrison's lines that apparently somehow Australian coal is better than other countries' coal.
Adam, is this the Greens learning from their mistake in 2009?
I think the decision in 2009 was the right one. The decision in 2010 to work with the government to then get a price on pollution was the right one. And I think this is the right decision as well. Look, in this parliament, Labor's vote went backwards. The Liberals' vote went backwards. And you've got third voices, including the Greens and community independents, in there in bigger numbers than ever before. Everyone's going to need to give a bit to get things done.
Yeah, but if you'd done this in 2009, you'd be in a better position than this already, wouldn't you?
Well, the previous legislation that the government put up was bad legislation, and we got better legislation. And just this time we pushed the government and we got better legislation. Is it everything we want? No, it's not. Are we a step closer to taking action on climate as a result of what the Greens have achieved? Yes, we are.
Adam, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks very much.